I'm Sora Luxon, and this is Lesson 12, More Mind Control. The subconscious mind has absolutely no choice over what gets into it. Anything introduced to the subconscious, absolutely everything, put in front of it gets absorbed. You really have no choice in the matter, the way you have choices with conscious processes. Imagine a person holding up a newspaper to read. There are multiple different articles in front of them. They choose a headline that interests them most and read it. That's like how the conscious mind works. Now imagine the same person holding the same paper up to read, and absolutely every letter, word, sentence, photo, article, thumb ink smudge in the lower left-hand corner, they're not even holding the paper. Someone across the room they don't know is holding it up. All of that is automatically seen, absorbed by the mind, processed silently, and stored, all without them blinking an eye or recognizing that it's happened at all. That's like how the subconscious works. Now, some of what gets absorbed has a bigger impact on your conscious behaviors than other stuff. But all of what gets into your subconscious is a part of how you're programmed. Those thoughts, ideas, images being constantly presented to your subconscious, which then is going to pull them in without as much as a warning or the need of permission from you, that stuff is programming you. Repetition of a message makes it even stronger. We all see the logic in that. Read a sentence once, you might forget it. Read it 100 times, you're going to be able to quote it like you wrote it yourself, right? Read it 1,000 times, you'll be able to quote it better than if you wrote it yourself. Repetition of information absorbed by the subconscious works exactly the same way. You might be able to consciously ignore that bright logo on a sign that you drive by every morning. But every day, the subconscious sees it. And that message, that image, becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. Until 3 months later, you could recognize that brand logo in a mall from a mile away without even so much as squinting. And the thing about recognition, whether you've agreed to it or not, it's a comforting sensation, and pleasant sensations both sway and drive conscious physical behaviors. So chances are you're more likely to buy that thing from that brand now because of a sign your subconscious has been seeing for a while. Is that bad? I don't know. It depends on what the thing is and whether or not you actually need it in that moment, I suppose. But every occultist knows this much. The sign that influenced you into buying that product, it certainly had nothing and has nothing to do with the product itself or whether or not buying it is a good choice for you to make. So what's the good news here, right? Where's the lesson? Well, this is the insight and power of an occultist, part of it. You can program you. See, it's more mind control. It's more controlling your own mind. We went over already, right? The first was learning to approach and acknowledge your conscious inner dialogue. Then taking the reins and seeing those thoughts as options that you can either allow or dismiss. That's sort of step one. The majority of people don't even do that. This is the next form of mind control. Learning to approach your own subconscious as if it exists by choice, acknowledging that it's real. And then, by use of your own will, begin choosing to impress upon it what you want, if you want, while guarding against what you don't want. Awareness at this juncture is key. Because it's the stuff that slips through the cracks, that gets into the subconscious without your knowledge, that you really have to start being careful of. Not afraid of, just careful of, more aware of. So you have some concept of what's getting in there and how and when, so you can start making informed choices about it. It's always when you're not paying attention. It's when you are unfocused that so much is getting through. Already discussed this, right? With the newspaper example, with that metaphor. It's when you're not paying attention, that's when the subconscious is getting all that information anyway. Like when you quickly scroll an internet feed, say, and you're only scanning the words. All that other stuff you're ignoring or trying to ignore, comments, pictures, other subjects you're not paying attention to while you scroll, it's all getting into your mind too. And think about the last time you scrolled, say, Twitter comments or Facebook feeds, someone's profile. A lot of that commentary that you're just scrolling past is negative, draining, inaccurate, biased, ignorant, just downright depressing or mean-spirited, right? That those comments are there. All of those spelled messages are going to affect you. They're going to affect how you think and feel because you weren't consciously reading them, just scrolling past it, and your subconscious picked it right up. Not awesome. It's why most occultists limit screen time and avoid mindlessly scrolling through any kind of information at all. We try not to do anything mindlessly. Or let's use another example. Let's say you're half listening to music in a car. The song's melody is upbeat and you're not really paying attention. So who cares that you're not focused, right? What difference does it make if you're practicing and using your occult skills to be aware of your environment and possibly guard your mind? Well, maybe the song lyrics that you weren't consciously listening to talk about a guy breaking up with a girl and him not caring at all, being thrilled about it. And that's why he's so upbeat. And good for him if that was the right choice for him and it worked out well for him. But you're not thinking about any of this consciously. You don't even know you're hearing it. You're just humming along, smiling, oblivious, completely ignorant to the information being poured directly into your mind. Maybe you have a nice morning and then a nice day. I mean, you were listening to a cheerful beat in the car, right? It put you in a good mood. It was fun and optimistic. But a week away, or a month away, or a few months away, you happen to get into a fight with your girlfriend. Let's say you're a boy and you have a girlfriend, you get into a fight with her. And there's a moment where you could have calmed down within this argument. There's this moment, this window, where if you had calmed down, allowing yourself perspective and insight would have allowed for the situation to resolve and resulting in you making up with her if you wanted to, and then giving you the freedom of choice to make up with her or not. But instead, inside of that moment that you could have taken to calm down and gain this greater perspective that would have given you freedom of choice, your subconscious preemptively nudges you, entirely unknown to you, by the way, you have no idea this is going on, with the message of, nah, break up, who cares, you'll be thrilled if you do. In that tiny moment, let's say 15 seconds, right, that your mind was influencing your choices, you react and you do what your subconscious nudges you to do. You miss the window of opportunity to say the right and possibly wise thing that would have given you the freedom of options and choices to make for yourself. And instead, you just blurt out, who cares, let's break up, whether or not that's what you really wanted. Now, I'm not saying a song you listened to a month ago made you limit yourself in that moment. But it certainly helped, didn't it? It helped limit you. And if you've been listening to that song without paying attention to the lyrics more than once, that is repetitiously, every other morning while you drive, they play it on the radio after all, right? And this message, this information has been fed to you over and over and over again for weeks, directly to the subconscious mind because you weren't paying attention. And your subconscious has no choice but to pull it right in. Then yeah, the song did make you limit your choices, and it took away your freedom of choice. See how that works? Spooky, right? Well, not really spooky. It's just the way it is. We're physical mammals with brains. Those brains are full of software for pattern recognition and storage. We have a subconscious. It's massive. It's huge, right? And it's programmable. That's just how it is. Being an occultist means not only knowing that there's this massively powerful interplay going on all the time that most people seem happy to be slaves to for some reason. Not only knowing that, not only recognizing that it's happening, right? That's a big first step, but being aware while it's happening and paying attention to it, paying attention to what might be getting into our minds, or attics, if you will. That's what many of my initiate brothers and sisters call it, right? The attic, the mind, upstairs. See, it isn't the stuff that you go and buy and then package up nice and neat and store up in the attic on purpose for a rainy day that you need to be worried about. Like those spare flashlights and batteries in case of a power outage, right? You know where those are. You put them in the attic. You know how to find them and bring them down when you have need of them. It's the stuff that's getting stored up there that you have no clue about. Stuff that you haven't agreed to. Like a pinless grenade, some stranger stuffed behind some old boxes and an old sheet that's way up there in the back corner that you have no idea is even there, and it's just happily waiting to be accidentally tripped over. You weren't even home when they put it in your attic in the first place. Of course you weren't. That's how it got there. You wouldn't have knowingly let someone store that in your attic, right? You have no way of knowing it's there, just waiting to cause a whole heap of trouble. It really usually isn't what you knowingly put in your mind that's the issue. It's all the other stuff that you don't know is getting in there. That's the issue. So step 2 of mind control, that is controlling your own mind. Be aware. Stay aware. Start closing the attic door, especially if strangers are in the house looking for places to store pinless grenades. You get the idea here. To be an occultist, notice, value, and respect the power of your mind. Guard it. Until next time.